Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Shannon Francis, and I'm so excited. This was a good premiere. The Challenge USA premiered tonight. First episode. I have my co-host, Michelle, here. How are you doing tonight, Michelle?
Oh, I'm so good. I mean, first of all, for my draft, I got a lot of points tonight, and also just what an amazing episode. It felt like it was giving me fresh meat vibes. Like I was like, there's so many people, everyone's meeting. There's so many different things, and a lot of people know each other, and there's like past things, but then also not. And like it was just a whirlwind to experience.
Yes, I love a good whirlwind. And Matthew, how did you feel about this premiere episode?
Well, I'm a little bit sore. I tried to do some push-ups before the podcast, but apart from that, I thought it was a really strong premiere, real fun. It was nice to see all the new faces in the challenge setting, but familiar faces to us. So I thought really fun premiere overall.
I have to agree with both of you. And I think what I like the most about it is what I'm missing sometimes is the strategy. And I can just see like people's wheels turning and like, oh, we have to do this, we have to do that. And people realizing their position in the house. And like, I just love seeing people trying to get themselves out of sticky situations. And people were playing from the beginning. And I love that. So it definitely delivered for me.
There was a lot of great strategy happening in a lot of places, and I'm so happy about it.
Yay. So we have some friends joining us. Joseph, we haven't seen you in a long time. Well, that was the challenge, but 90 minutes was too much. I think it was fine.
I was
fine with the 90 minutes.
There's a lot of characters, right? And we didn't even meet fully all of them kind of thing, you know?
I think it might have been considered a lot because it was also a 90-minute Big Brother premiere, which wasn't as great as this was.
Okay, so I haven't watched Big Brother yet. I'm going to watch that after, of course.
There's nothing to really even spoil. But
I mean, I think it's just too much to have them both tonight. So, and having 2 90-minute episodes is a lot. Like, that's a lot.
I didn't mind the 90 minutes. I thought the daily challenge went a little long, especially when there's the math involved. I mean, I typically don't really care too much about following along at home. So I thought that was a little bit long, but I think moving forward, it should be 60-minute episodes, I would imagine, which I think will be nice for everyone, especially as the numbers dwindle a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think, once it just tightens it up a little bit and it'll just be like a really fast-paced episode. I think the 60-minute structure of it will be really good. And I love all the characters on this season. I guess some people I wasn't going to be too excited about. And I'm like, nope, I can handle you. But I usually like to go through the whole episode, but I kind of want to start with, what do you guys think about how they're going to be switching up partners from this point going forward? What do you guys think about that as a twist?
I'm obsessed with it as a twist. Personally, I mean, there is something to be said for like getting to follow along on a journey of a partnership and how they evolve and how you get better. Like, I was super amped for the Tyson Angela combo, and obviously, it's very sad that they potentially will never work together again unless they both make it far enough to randomly get paired together at the right moment. So as a player, I'd be fucking pissed. But at the same time, it's going to be so cool because you can't hide behind just being with someone from a different show or whatever. Like, because you could end up with someone from your same show. You could end up with an Amazing Racer. You could end up with a Love Island. You could end up with someone that's fully against you. So I kind of love the drama that's going to happen with that. And because these are all new players who've never done the challenge, I think like I'm for it.
Yeah, I think this is the optimal way to go about doing it as well. I think the fact that not only are we going to see different people paired together for eliminations and dailies, but also the winners of the dailies are going to have to make decisions with people they're not necessarily aligned with or close to in any way. So tonight wasn't as much drama between Tyson and Angela making a decision. It was kind of the easy choice, but moving forward, that's certainly not going to be the case. So if we get a survivor in Big Brother and they're conflicted as to who to throw in, that it's going to be way more drama moving forward.
Totally. Like I obviously, if I was playing the game, I'd be pissed because you want to really nurture a relationship with somebody. You want to know how to work with them, work well with them, so you can excel and do amazingly. But I think we were all worried about like these big groups of people and everyone else not being able to have a chance, like a shot at it, because they're just not in the numbers. And so I do like that they figured something out that's going to mess that up. It messes up everybody. Like, okay, Survivor and Big Brother are going to stick together and just pick out everybody on the outside. That's not necessarily going to happen from now on. So I like that it gives everybody that was on the outside more of a chance to go further, just because it just depends on who they get set up with. So I like pros and cons for it. I think for a television show, as a viewer, it's definitely a pro. Hundo.
Yes. Yeah.
Hundo. Hi, Kev. Yes, this was a good episode. I would agree. Congrats to Shelly for winning another draft with All Stars.
Well, not yet. But I'm off to a good start.
No, with All Stars.
Oh, with All Stars. Did I win?
I probably. You had both of the winners, didn't you?
I didn't have Kayla.
Oh, Cayla didn't win.
Oh, sorry, Jordan.
Spoiler alert.
No, I don't have either. I didn't have either of them.
I think I have. Maybe I have Jovanny. I think actually.
Yeah.
But I'd have to go through all the points.
Wow, that shows you how much I was focused on that, because honestly, I watched the finale, but like I was just so.
I watched the finale like 12 hours ago.
Yeah,
like, that's so old news now.
It's so old news, and also I felt very like underwhelmed by it in a lot of ways. Even though obviously I'm happy for my King West, but like I felt a little underwhelmed. So this episode was way more exciting to me. So it's now way. But sorry for that mistake. Wow.
Those 2-part finales just don't work ever. Just like getting a week later, I don't care anymore. Like, let me see who wins a week ago.
Why couldn't it be an hour and a half episode, right? Like, you just could do 90 minutes now. Why can't you do a double episode on Paramount Plus? It's not like you have to have like a time slot here. So I'm not sure what their plans are with that show. But this one, they did good. I was very hesitant in the beginning, and I definitely have to say they did a good job here. I'm eating my words officially, we'll say. Well, so we start off this episode and we're kind of getting introduced to everybody, and it was really exciting. And it feels like the people that they presented may be the people that they think are going to do really well, because we didn't see everybody, I don't think. We see Tyson right away. We see Angela right away. We see Tiffany right away talking about their stories in Big Brother. Was there anybody that showed up that you were kind of excited by, like their attitude and what they're going to be bringing to confessionals?
I mean, when Tiffany got her, I think it was the second confessional, I didn't realize how excited I was to see her back on my TV this soon. I was getting the shivers when some of these people were having their confessionals and seeing them on the challenge. I mean, Tiffany was super exciting. Shannon was a star tonight, I thought. James, who I didn't even know coming into this, James was incredible. I'm super excited for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
So on the draft that I'm doing with the boys, he went undrafted because, I mean, for the same reasons when I talked about it when we did our draft, was that I didn't think was the stronger competitor out of him and his partner. And so, yes, they did well and they won, absolutely. But I was like, wasn't sure how well he would do in this format. But I'm eating my words there too. I think he's going to do way better than I was giving him credit for.
His confessionals were great. I'm absolutely obsessed with the strategy, and I'm obsessed with Tyson and Tyson's strategy. And I think, we didn't get enough Domenick yet, but I think that's to come. Shannon was great, very entertaining for the episode. So I was into it. And,
but I really hope that this goes away and she turns on Comp Beast. I
think she could. I mean, I don't think she'll win, but I believe she could. Like they didn't fail at the daily. They could win a daily, maybe. Depending on what it is, because there's so many what if factors with dailies. So. And with changing partners, she could end up with Tyson and then win a daily and then get some power, and then suddenly she's a threat.
The drive to oh yes, I want to do better. I want to be
exactly
great champion.
Everyone gets to be partnered with Tyson at a different point. That's exciting.
True.
And someone's gonna get stuck with David. That's just true.
What's also really like, I'm hoping that Shannon will have her like metamorphosis, because I was kind of ranking her like an Angela because they have similar backgrounds in their athletics. She was a tumbler, a power tumbler, and so
Oh.
like she should be good at some of these things. She's gonna have balance. She should be able to like run into things and tumble on a vault, whatever. And so I ranked her really highly on my other draft because I was thinking that her and like Shannon and her would be similar. So I'm hoping that she will look at Angela and be like, Angela is somebody that I would want to be like, and just like emulate her, because she's only like a couple years older than her, and she's such a beast. I'm so impressed by Angela, and her confessionals aren't that bad.
I like her a lot more on this show than Big Brother already.
Yeah, she came out kind of acknowledging that she was going to be a ruthless player, which I hope she lives up to. It seems like potentially something between her and Sarah, where maybe they'll be feuding throughout the season. They alluded to that a little bit at the start. Now, with Shannon and Angela, I think the one difference, and we saw it tonight, is Shannon just doesn't have the same motivation as Angela does. So I do worry that when Shannon does get put into a sticky situation down the road, she's just going to crumble emotionally and might not have the drive to be there, or might not care as much. Whereas Angela, I don't see that being the case. I mean, I think Angela is long for the game and is going to be a much tougher out, just because she's physically and mentally much stronger.
Well, now that I know that you're a Pisces, Shannon is also a Pisces. So do you recognize any of the way that she's kind of reacting, like as to something that you've ever been kind of how you've reacted to things?
Not really, but I do think if I was in this situation, I'd probably be quite emotional as well. So.
I'm like, I don't understand.
Also, we have to just say Queen Shan. Like, Shan's confessionals are living. Shan from one of the first scenes, like everyone's meeting each other. That was really fun to watch. And you see the people on the outskirts, and then you literally see Shan just being like, yeah, like Sarah is so strong. Like, we literally got to put, I think she's Sarah and against Angela. She's like, that's like my dream. And I immediately was like, yeah, you already know what you need to do to actually win. She's already thinking endgame, which sometimes is Shan's problem, I think, is that like she thinks too far ahead a little bit. But like, I'm obsessed. I hope she lasts so long. I just love Shan.
Well, and with her making that like discovery, I was like, that's good to know though. Whether she acts on it or enforces it, makes it happen. Like knowing that depending on who gets power, that's something that you could maybe want to trickle in there at some point. And so it's very good that she's thinking of it now. Hopefully she doesn't act on things too soon and gets herself in a little bit of hot water.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Love it.
Love it.
Also love when TJ's shadow, he's so dramatic, comes up on the wall and everybody's screaming. And you know that half the people have no idea who he is, which I thought was also funny.
Yes. But can we also say, sorry,
You can also say everything.
I think this was at the beginning, but the order is a little in my mind. But like, okay, we all know my thoughts on Kyland. However, when he was just like, I watched the last 10 seasons of the challenge and I studied what the people who win. In that moment, I was like, I hope you don't go home at the beginning, because you did your homework and you deserve to have a good chance because you know it. And like, maybe regardless of whether he was a fan, if you watch 10 seasons, like you have that respect and you're like, okay, the people who win, like, what do they do? Like what, and he's been working. And I really was appreciative of that moment. And I was like, okay, maybe I'm not going to hate you, but your personality, I probably still will, but we'll see.
I totally I logged that moment in being like, okay, because a lot of people are like, oh, I'm such a big challenge fan, and they've never really watched the show. Like Fessy, we know that he just watched some clips of like the best moments of. And so the fact that he says that he watched the last 10 seasons, like last 10 seasons aren't that great, but like he did, that's a lot of episodes at least, and a lot of hours that he put in. I probably would have told him to watch like maybe from Fresh Meat 1 up to like 32, but like,
but it's also good to know how the game is being played now.
True.
Because that's kind of,
it could be the structure of the game right now.
Yeah.
One thing I'm really kind of excited to see play out is Derek and Alyssa alluded to wanting to go after the cookout, which I don't really buy completely, but if that is true and they're willing to go against them, that will be super exciting to watch as well, to see them turn on each other. And I wonder if the 4 cookout members would also turn on each other, or if that will just never happen.
I don't think the 4 cookout members will, but I kind of can I felt to me like, yeah, I can see that they might just be playing that up for the camera to have like a storyline, but I could also see them being like, well, I know that you're doing it for a cause that's bigger than this game was. I get that, but it still really sucked that you lied to me the entire summer, and our entire relationship was kind of based on a lie. Regardless if it was for a good reason of a lie, it was still a lie and it would not feel that good. So I would probably still have a little bit of need for revenge. And they both said revenge. I want revenge. So I'm like,
and they both made it clear as the episode went on that it's not something that they want to do right away, because they recognize the importance of having those people on their side, but they're also just like, yeah, like they still lied to me the whole time. And that means, you can't trust them, because she wholeheartedly believed Xavier. And the thing is that, like, to know that you believe someone so wholeheartedly and to know that they lied to you, regardless of respect for the game, I'm like, wow, you are so good. Like, that's not something you can trust going into another game.
I would never be able to trust
like, depending now on the shakeups and stuff, right? Like, it's like she could be paired with him, and then he could be like, there's just so many what if factors. I wouldn't trust the cookout if I was in Derek's position, especially.
Never.
So
I think Alyssa will be fine for a while. They have no reason to go against Alyssa at this point, but Derek is probably super disposable to them.
Yeah, and I guess with all that said, if Alyssa and or Derek do turn on the cookout, which of the 4 do you think will be the one that gets turned on?
Sorry, say that again? Sorry,
which of the 4 cookout members do you think would be the one to get turned on first?
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
I was going to say, I honestly just think it'll be Tiffany, because
that's my word.
Tiffany, that's what happened to her in Big Brother. Her thing, she's so smart. She's so strategic. I love her so much. I love watching her, but she's too loyal compared to the others, in my opinion.
And I also think that the others are a little bit more physically competitive, or like stronger than she is. And so with the fact that there's going to be these partner shakeups, it's very easy that she can be put with a partner that's not that strong, that could compensate for her not being that strong and her going into the bottom on multiple occasions. Because that's what we did learn, is that if you suck, you're going in, which we love that, but it's going to hurt somebody that's better at playing in the shadows than someone that's going to come out and have the power right out in front. So I think it's going to hurt Tiffany, because I think that she could probably keep herself out of going into elimination. But if she's physically not able to be good at a daily, she might be going in and might not be able to come back out. So I worry that she's going to go in that way. I don't know if know if they'll have a chance to turn on her, to be honest.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of what if factors. And the truth is that, like, Kyland is strong enough that, like, he is someone people will be scared to go against an elimination, or like they would pick someone else before they pick Kyland. Like, he's in the top half of the strength for sure.
So hi, Sophie. So Sophie says that Azah had funny confessionals as well. She was pretty good. I was worried for her, and I don't know if she's long for this game.
Yeah.
But she was entertaining in her confessionals, and she is hosting a party tonight in New York. So the fact that she was hosting a party, I was like, she's probably not going home, because I don't know if I'd be hosting a party if like I was going home first. So I had a feeling that she was going to do okay this episode. Hi, Will. So Will says, agree or disagree? So I thought it was the challenge, but without entertainment. That's why they cast vets every season. He also says, watching this made me appreciate the main show more. Do we agree or disagree with this?
I disagree, to be honest. I thought this was a nice, refreshing change to the show. I was excited to see the new faces, like you mentioned, Michelle. It felt like fresh meat, and I enjoyed it. I think the last few seasons of the main show have been tough to get through, but I mean, we'll see how this goes. I'm a little worried that it's going to be a little too twisty, but for a premiere, I thought it was a very strong episode.
Michelle, anything to add? No problem. Or not.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I agree with you too. I mean, yes, I love the OGs coming back. I'm obviously a challenge like stan for sure. Like I support the challenge more than the other shows. I'm a bigger fan for sure. But I definitely feel that this episode was really fun for me. I think it's
fun.
because I know every single person on the season. I've seen every single ounce that they've been on, like, you know, all their Big Brother episodes, all their Survivor seasons. Like, I've seen them all. And so I felt this similarly to when OGs come back from on the challenge, because I know their whole stories. And so, yes, go ahead.
And isn't it such a fun crossover to be like people from Survivor, like multiple people, and like multiple people, like it's really, it's kind of a mind fuck to watch.
It's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, when Tasha showed up on my screen and I was like, holy shit, there's Tasha. It's been 5 years. It's like, it's the same way I feel when like a Teresa shows up on the main show, or Darrell comes back after a few years off. It's like, it's this like rush of excitement, and it just hit us all at once. And I think it's going to last throughout the whole season, because like tonight we got a few confessionals from each person, or most people. But as the show goes on, we're going to be seeing more of the Tashas and Tiffany's and Derek X's and all these fan favorites from the past few years, or some people from 5-10 years ago. It's to me, this is a really kind of exciting event, and I don't see that excitement going away anytime soon.
Definitely not. So what did you guys think about when Ben popped up on the screen? So Ben kind of says that, you know, his past couple seasons, he was playing super loyal, but this time he's playing for himself. We did both watch TJ talk about the players that he was most impressed by, and Ben was one of these players. We didn't necessarily see it this episode, but what did you guys think about Ben's presence this episode?
I thought he was okay. I mean, everything he said like sounded great in theory, but again, like I don't know how much I buy what he's saying. Similar to kind of what I was saying about Alyssa and Derek, I don't really buy it this early. I think at the end of the day, like he's going to be willing to do whatever it takes to get Sarah further in the game, to get Desi further in the game, the people that he's already close with. So I mean, he was fine and no major complaints. Still not super excited to see him back on TV, though.
I do have to say that Desi is like the most gorgeous woman.
Yeah. I know.
I was just like, wow, we saw you in Survivor, so like we didn't get to appreciate how gorgeous you are. But like, I was really shocked, and I didn't know that she was like a 2-time. Like she was Miss USA, or she went for Miss USA, whatever it was. Like all her
top 10
stuff.
or something.
Yeah, she said top 10 Miss USA, and I was thinking, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I was blown away by her gorgeousness, and so I'm happy with these switch ups too, because I can't remember who she was partnered with, but I remember thinking like, oh, maybe she needs a better partner. Who
she was with Cinco. They actually did.
Oh no, her and
well.
Cinco. No, I want her to stay with him. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Desi and Cinco.
I think they've placed top 3.
Mm-hmm, they did, yes.
So we see Shannon talking to Alyssa about the cookout, and that's when we get all the tea. We see the confessionals about revenge and how her and Derek are ride or die. So I do like that they have kind of a secret ride or die that's going on that nobody seems to know about or has talked about it yet. And so I like that. I think that's good for both of their games. And they're both are strategic enough to be able to implement that, even if they're in other partnerships. So I'm excited to see how they maneuver things.
Yeah, I thought Alyssa had a really strong episode. And Derek, I thought was okay. He seems maybe a little too sweet for the game.
I self-deprecating all the time. You're like, I think you're better than you are making it out to be.
Yeah, I mean, from what I remember, like he's in pretty good shape. Like he's underratedly physical. Smart guy as well. I think he could do well. I just think I don't know if he has the drive, but I see it in Alyssa. I think she could go pretty far and be a threat in here.
I do, because I think she's going to be underestimated, but they're not going to necessarily want to go against her because she's going to have the numbers of Big Brother. So right. I think she's kind of protected for at least a little while, and she's also kind of strategic. And she watched the show before being asked to be on this one, which is always a plus. Mm-hmm. A relationship that I didn't care anything about was Kyra and Cashel. Did we care about this?
No.
No. No, I didn't even care about them when they were on Love Island. And then I was remembering what happened with them. I think she left alone, or he left before her, and then then he came back for her, or didn't leave. It was just some big drama that happened, and then they dated. But I was like, I was never rooting for them as a couple. So
yeah, if I remember correctly, I think she sent him home, and then she like called him up, and he met her back at the villa when she left. Something like that.
You might be right on it. I remember it was something that would leave and come back for each other, how it went down. But I think you're right.
He was like super weird. He seems super weird, like super awkward guy. I don't know if that's just kind of his bits or if he's really like that. But
I haven't seen him. I've never watched that season, so
it's not good. It was. Never
I just
good.
didn't really care, to be honest.
Yeah. I honestly, all three of the Love Island men kind of boring. I think Jovanny of the three was the most entertaining. So a little upset to see him go, but not going to change things too much, I don't think.
Well, we got another little hint of some Love Island drama, of course. So with the Cashay, not Cashel, Cashay and Cinco drama, Cinco is kind of annoyed that he's going to have to like see her every day, and like, you know, they're broken up. I don't know what happened in their relationship. I think it was rumored that he cheated on her. I don't know if there's a truth about that. I don't know who broke up with whom, but she does say that it was fresh, and she's kind of still hurting, and she doesn't want to talk about it. So I bet you, okay, how much do we want to bet that randomizer is going to put Cinco and Cashay together? Like, that randomizer is going to put the people that most likely would not want to be together.
100%. But I mean, it's still fair game, because it's like you're going to have to be with everybody once, and you can't be, so they can't screw you over more than once. So like, yeah, they're going to put you with a crazy combo, but then you'll be with a different combo. So it's like, if you just got to survive long enough to when there'll be repeats and get yourself to the end by just like hoping that the eliminations, if you have to go in one, are ones like this one where you can pull the weight for your team if need be, and you just got to be extra strong.
So I guess they're going to start the next episode with the randomizer, and then we're going to see like all the partners go and start like talking and strategizing. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Well, some people here are like, they're saying that they don't like this one because it was kind of boring. They're taking things way too seriously. I love people taking this game too seriously.
Yeah, I'm like, I love the commitment.
We are so committed when we're playing a stupid backyard game. Like I would be so committed if I was on any of these shows. Like, there'd be no chill time, no downtime. Like, I'd always be strategizing. Even if I was dancing, I'd be strategizing.
Yeah, I mean, you also have to consider that everyone on this cast is used to being on a show where you play once. Like, if you're lucky, you play twice. They're now in an opportunity where they're not only kind of fighting to win the money and win this season, but it's a ticket onto 5 more shows. So for some of these people that want to make that their life, I mean, they're definitely going to take it seriously, because the longer you stay, the more likely you're going to be to get called up to do an MTV show or US 2 if it happens. So a little different.
And I think they get their appearance fees as well as their stipends. And if you're really likable and people want to see you, like, that could be a nice little paycheck to go away, play, I would say probably my favorite game, and potentially win $500,000 and probably make $100,000 while I'm doing it. Like, I think that's a pretty good option. So yeah, it's definitely a ticket into that universe of like having a great paycheck yearly, at least, or twice a year. I saw a live today that Josh was on, Martinez, and he was mentioning about how much he loves the challenge. And as much as I don't really love him, I appreciate anybody that is committed to enjoying the show. And so it made me like Josh just a little bit more. Still won't draft him on 39 if he's on it, but like, it may be at least respect him a little bit more instead of him just going on, it seems like, for the money. Mm-hmm. He seems to love the show.
Yeah. It's do you think that people like Josh and Fessy, Jay, Michelle, do you think they should have been eligible for this cast, or do you like having complete newbies?
I would say I didn't want to see Josh and Fessy on this one because I didn't want them to steer it in any sort of direction. Like, I like the fact that everybody that's playing this particular season is all, like you said, Michelle, fresh meat.
I like that too.
We're seeing them learn how to play their game themselves. They may have watched it, but implementation is a little bit different than just watching the show. So I think that's also what I'm enjoying, is seeing people that are, some are more strategic than others from their own respective games, but we're seeing them learn how to play this game. And I find that very interesting. So I don't want to see right now Josh and Fessy doing any sort of maneuvering on how this game is going to be played. I like that everybody's has, like a even playing field, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Personally. So James and Leo had a little conversation. They're playing pool. I love that they're both really strategic. Right? Like, I'm always going to be like salivating over like the strategic people, and the fact that they know that they have less numbers, but they're still like, I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to go gather information. I'm going to share this with you. And like, they automatically have, it seems like a good bond that they can trust each other. I really like that for both of them. And I really enjoy both of their conversations.
Me too.
Yeah. I think that was my favorite conversation of the episode, where my worry with those three amazing racers was exactly what happened to Love Island tonight, where it's just going to be so easy to get rid of them. And the fact that they acknowledge that, and that they can sleep through the first few weeks, they can play the middle and just be patient. That's a lot of this game is about patience. And I mean, James like completely dominated the strategy in tonight's episode. And the fact that he has this knowledge, not only of the challenge, but also of all the people he's playing with, I think is so cool. It's such a nice change of pace on any of these other shows. I mean, the challenge, half the cast is now from international shows. The challenge all-stars, I mean, some of them haven't played in 10, 15 years. But the fact that James knows everyone and is putting his knowledge to use and having those conversations, it's like, honestly a very pleasant surprise for me. So really happy James is on this cast, and Leo as well. We didn't get as much from Cayla, but she seems fun. And really kind of excited about those three.
Same.
So how do we feel about the cockiness of Sarah Lacina coming in? She's like, just coming in here, just write me the check.
Like, are we shocked?
I don't think she's winning this.
But like, are we shocked? This is the way she is.
I know.
Like,
I did decide to go with Team Hatable Rootable is because like some people are rooting for her, and I'm going to be rooting for her. But so.
And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Sarah has ever won an individual challenge on Survivor in 3 seasons. So
really?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure she's good in the group stuff.
I don't
but
picture her with the necklace on. I can't picture that.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Angela. Definitely not a fan of Sarah. But I mean, if they go at it, I'm definitely going to be rooting hard for Angela.
Definitely.
I'm rooting hard for Angela. And I was really sad about the fact that partnership is going to be broken up, because I loved, I think it was Shan calling them Thor and Wonder Woman going down the wall. And I'm like, yes, like I love that like super strong duo that just really worked well together right off the bat. And so I'm sad that we won't get to see that partnership moving forward, but I do think that they're still going to be working together. I think that they made a little bit of a connection, and I think some of these original pairings might still linger the influence that they might have on their original partner. So I also am excited to see how that plays out, just like when things get reshuffled, to see what old ties are going to be influential. So I'm excited for that. Why is this? It was really good. I can't even stop it. I wanted to like sit down and do a marathon. I'm like, I don't want to just like watch one episode. Like I want to see the whole thing right now. So that's when you know I like something.
Yeah.
Shan and Desi. Oh, so Shan was talking to Desi just kind of about like that's the conversation you were mentioning, Michelle, about wanting to put Angela and Sarah Lacina together. I'm like, yes, that's the thing to do. But people might be pissed and come back at you. So just be careful how you do it. Shan was also saying about how she was a pastor, and that she's a pastor, but like she's playing a game and she's really competitive and she doesn't mind sending you home and saying bye. And I'm like, this is why I love Shan.
Yeah.
She's able to play the game and send people home, and the ruthlessness is great.
It's so good. It's so good.
So this is where we first start seeing Shannon stressed out. I believe she was talking to Jovanny and Kyra about how like she's super intimidated and like doesn't necessarily want to be there. And so I just didn't really understand though, like what happened. Was it just like the environment or used to being on a show that didn't have any stakes? Because like nothing really happened for her to be so terrified. I thought. Obviously, I wasn't there, but
I mean, it kind of gave me some flashbacks to Cashel in All-Star Season 1, where she showed up thinking it was going to be kind of a backyard games, like all like a fun reunion, like a party. And then kind of you get there and you realize, no, that's not what we're doing here. We're going to be climbing down buildings. We're going to be doing hall brawls. And like she kind of learned that and maybe freaked out a bit. Hope it was temporary, but the fact that they spent so much time on it in the episode does make me think it's probably going to come back at some points. And that's why I don't know if Shannon is long for the game, but I think while she is here, she will be very entertaining.
Just falling apart. Just falling apart. Because like she's not going to have James that is going to protect her necessarily next time. Like she might not have somebody that's as good at the strategizing and making these relationships that's going to protect her. If she's stuck with somebody else from Love Island, it's done. Like her head's not in the game and people are going to be like, oh, I want to go against her because she's like weak-minded right now. She's not here to win. She hasn't switched that on. So hopefully she gets that switch, because if she's ever done anything competitive, like she knows how to turn on that focus that you need to be really good at these things. So maybe she'll get an arc. Maybe she'll get like, I'm going to flip on that switch and become like an ultra competitor. Hoping.
Yeah.
Okay, so the daily is going to be in pairs, co-ed, and they get to choose their own pairs. I also like when they choose their own pairs as well, just because I want to see like who's deciding who to work with. I would have liked a few more confessionals with people being like, I chose this person because I knew that they were not in Love Island or not in The Amazing Race, but we didn't really get that. I wanted to see a little bit more of the pairs, but I think I wrote them all down.
I have them all down as well.
What do you think the strongest pair? Obviously, Angela and Tyson were super strong. Cinco and Desi, I thought were really strong.
And Shan.
Yeah. Danny and Shan.
I was into that pair.
Who else was good? Ben and Alyssa, interesting duo.
Yeah, I mean, Tiffany and Leo did well. Honestly, Shannon and James did well. I think they won their heats against Ben and Alyssa. Cashay, Derek X won their heats. So honestly, it seems like everyone did pretty well, with the exception of Kyland and Azah, who had, I mean, they're the only ones that had to go up twice. So that was cool to see. I mean, everyone on their kind of first challenge kind of rose to the occasion, did fairly well.
And what I also thought was awesome, because we just suffered through people quitting on All Stars. And like, this seemed a lot more terrifying than whatever they had to do when Beth quit or when Jarrell quit. And so this definitely more terrifying. And these people are not used to doing this, or not even necessarily expecting having to rappel down the side of a building and do math equations. So I thought that this was a pretty high stakes daily, and nobody buckled. Like, yeah, they failed at it and they had to go and do it a second time, but they still completed it.
Exactly.
And TJ seemed to be happy with that in the end. Like, he seemed to be impressed that everybody went through with it and were able to at least solve it in the end, which was pretty impressive.
I was very impressed, and I was expecting someone to quit. So that was
so nice. The fastest teams are going to each they're going to get $10,000, $5,000 each. And who were the three top ones? I wrote them down somewhere.
Yeah, it was Tyson, Angela, Cinco, Desi, and Shan and Danny.
Right. And they're separated only by 17 seconds, which was definitely very tight. But you could tell though, like Angela and Tyson were super fast. They were just like memorizing it and going down. They just kept on moving quite swiftly. So I was impressed, but those top three duos, those are the teams to beat, I would say, for sure, in everything. So Tyson and Angela do take the cake this time, but Danny and Shan, I was impressed, and same with Desi and Cinco.
I'm a little surprised that the you win one daily, you get $5,000 and then automatic tickets. Seems like that's quite a bit, especially considering, I mean, there's going to be, 10, 12 episodes. So the fact that Tyson and Angela already have that ticket seems like...
I don't know. The way I saw it was like, normally there isn't money for that. And if you make it to the final, you make it to the final. So to me, I see it as like, you can't skate by and have friends and make it to the final. You at least need to win a daily. Or you better go into a bunch of eliminations and win. So like, it just takes away that chance to just be a middle roader for the whole time.
Like Casey has done a few times.
Yeah.
And also what I think it allows is that there's now a bounty on their head. It's like if they had to choose somebody to go down against, like if it's like, ooh, do I go down against Sarah Lucina or go down against Angela? Well, if I have to choose between those two, I'm going to go down against Angela because I want her bank. I don't want $1,000. I want $5,000 and at least qualify. So I don't know about them specifically because they're obviously the strongest duo, but with anybody else that wins a daily, I think it could put a bounty on their head. Which could make for some drama because people are gonna be like, I have no money, but you see that whole big board that's up that shows how much bank everybody has, and so I think it could make people quite tasty targets.
Yeah, I also wonder if maybe it'll lead to people throwing daily challenges to get their alliance extra money, which could be kind of a unique strategy, especially if like the money you build up is what you win at the end. But at the end of the day, I mean, if Kyland has 5,000 and Xavier doesn't, is he going to help Xavier out and throw a challenge to him? No, probably Kyland won't, but
but there is that strategy involved as well. Yeah, like let me get this person a win because I think I can beat them in the end.
Yeah, and they're not going to throw you into the elimination. So as long as you don't come last, you're good.
I would have to say with Danny and Shan, they were paired together. Danny said that his wife Kiki was like, don't work with her, like don't trust her. And he was like, he coined something that I thought was very good. He said the Shanthalon or Shanthalem anthem, Shantham, the Shantham, when she's like the. And I'm like, I love you coining that, Danny. I hope that you make new music for her if there's one for the challenge. Is there evil challenge music? Like when people are doing sinister things?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you know what effects?
Also that I heard that I didn't think of because I usually watch the challenge on a US station, but apparently we don't get the same music if we ever watch the challenge on MTV Canada. It's not the same soundtrack on our episode.
Weird.
Isn't that awful?
Yeah, that's very bizarre.
Well, I guess we can't. We didn't buy like the rights to some of the music or something. I guess it's too expensive. So the winning team, Angela and Tyson, they're having a conversation with Azah and Kyland, who were last. Obviously, they had to go twice. They weren't able to have anybody that did worse than them, and so it did annoy me when Azah, the first thing that she said was, "We respect whatever wishes that you have." I was like, I rolled my eyes. I'm like, no, don't start with that because then they'll just do whatever you want. But then she added in, but like, we'd like to have, maybe a suggestion of like what we would like. But I was like, don't lead with like, do whatever you want. I'll still respect your game. Like, in my opinion, that's not the way to lead.
Yeah, no.
Give away all my power and then like hope that they'll give me some scraps. Like, no. But they kind of deduced what we all were thinking is that if you were not paired with somebody from either Survivor or Big Brother, it would be one of those other outside people that they would go up against. And so they kind of were giving them their pick. So the people that were paired up that weren't with a Big Brother or a Survivor person was Cely and Jovanny, Shannon and James. And was there a third duo?
There was Kyra and Cashel.
Oh, why weren't they more involved in that conversation?
That's what I was thinking that was the right.
It's because Kyra is 5'10" or 5'9".
That's why I thought Tyson and Angela would have wanted them in, though. But I mean, I don't know how close Angela is with the Big Brother people. I mean, obviously close enough. But yeah, I mean, if I were Tyson and Angela, I think the right call is put in Kyra and Cashel and get a better team out of there.
Yeah, but by them going with one of the two teams that Kyland and Azah,
it seems that they're doing them a favor.
It shows that they're doing them a favor, and then it'll be repaid. Because then if they lose, they can be like, well, I gave you who you wanted. You offered me 2 options. I gave you one of them,
Right.
And also, I loved after that little conversation happened, just seeing Tyson and Angela like, I'm riding this thing with you to the end, to the end. I was like, oh my God, I love that, to the end. It was almost like I wanted them to become a showmance. That's how much I loved their like partnership. And it would kind of work because they both kind of emulate their partners' kind of vibes. Like, she's a little bit like Rachel, and I would say he's a little bit like Tyler. And so, they have some similar qualities. So maybe in another lifetime, another dimension. I said Desi looking fire as they go out to the party. Love Island knows how to party. They were fun. I would probably want to hang out with them in the party scenes. But then we see Cinco showing that he doesn't know the game very well, in my opinion. He was talking with James. I don't know who else was there. But Cinco was like, he thinks that they should put in the strongest 2 people in there and make sure that you get out a strong team. And James is like, no, they're not going to be doing that. He's just like, no.
And I mean, Cinco, look in the mirror. You are probably the most physical guy here. If you're suggesting that, it's going to come back on you. I mean, you're like, you have the most muscle here. If you're looking at muscle as a threat, like, you're going to be the first to go.
Absolutely. You never want to take out the people that give people reason to take you out, basically. Like, if I was a winner coming back on a show, I would never be targeting other winners. Like, if I was like in some sort of group, I would never be targeting that group because you don't want them to use it as an excuse on you. So I was like, this guy, I mean, he's muscles, he's handsome, but I don't know if he knows how to strategize this game yet.
Yeah,
no. So yeah, James realizes that they are most likely going to be in the hot seat for the fact that there's not going to be any blood on anybody's hands. Like, two people from The Amazing Race might come back to retaliate. Who cares? People from Love Island, they're not threatened by them. So he has a feeling that it's going to be him. So he pulls over Shannon the next day to have a little chat about this. And I was happy that she didn't freak out because I thought that she might like lose it, but she was still pretty calm when he told her, like, I think it's going to be us. She's like, why? He explained it to her and he's like, I'm going to go to work. And he goes to fucking work. That's what you do in these games. And I'm just like, yes, like, people don't want to see them go in. They don't want to just like leave their fate up to somebody else. He's like, I'm going to get us out of this mess. Like, just don't tell anybody anymore that you want to go home. And he did it. Were you guys impressed? I mean, I know you said that you were already, but
very.
Yeah, I love that they waited and showed it after. Because that I let it up and I was like, he's really smart. And then I went, wait, they didn't show a conversation. This means that like he didn't talk to them or like it didn't work. And they're going in for sure. Like, this sucks. Like, I was like, fuck. Like, he didn't convince them. So then it was really nice to get that shock and then get to see it afterwards and be like, he did it. Like, yes. And then also, she also like at least went to her and went like, no, I'm here to play. Like, she at least tried to like show that she's dedicated or whatever. Cause that's someone that like, if Angela does her a favor, now she's owed. So it's good to like have people kind of groveling. And Cely wasn't groveling. Jovanny wasn't groveling.
I don't even think that they knew what was going on. Like, they had no idea.
But she said at the party, she was like, oh yeah, they hate Love Island. Like, they are definitely going after Love Island. It's like, you talk to them. Like, that's strategy. And I think she realized that too late.
Yeah, I think the Love Island people thought that because Shannon maybe didn't want to be there, that's Angela and Tyson were just going to throw her in. I don't think they realize, like, you know what, maybe there's more to this, or maybe people are having conversations. So, I mean, obviously the Love Island people were kind of having fun at the club. They're super bubbly. As you both know, I'm a huge Cely fan, but yeah, I mean, she didn't do too much to save herself. I don't think she was made for this game. But
this particular season, I think that she does have the capability to come back and do better. I think she just didn't know what she was getting herself into personally. One thing as well with seeing the flashbacks of what was going on with James putting in that work, we see Tyson after the camera in his confessional is like, okay, we did this for you, James. Now you owe me one. I'm like, Yes, you do owe him one, and he will pay up. I believe that James will pay that debt. And so that's also kind of what is fun, is like collecting all these debts. Like, like if you like, you owe me one, it's going to be helpful for everybody in gameplay down the road. So excited about that. So we see TJ come down for the to the arena. I think it's called the arena this season.
Yeah.
They say in his moniker, BMX legend. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, they brought that back.
I guess because people watching just don't know who he is. They're like, why is he the host? BMX legend. And so Cely and Jovanny are going down. They seem kind of shocked, but I was like, you didn't do anything to save yourself, so why wouldn't it be you? And so they're going to be obviously going against the two teams that lost the daily, or the team that lost the daily, which was Azah and Kyland. So this is a classic challenge where you have the rope on kind of the monkey bars. You got 10 minutes. I think it was 10 minutes that they gave them to make as many knots, make it as difficult as possible. And then you're going to switch sides and unrope the opposite side. Whoever gets their rope into their targeted spot is going to win. I thought that Cely was doing pretty well.
Me too. I was so impressed by her.
She was dictating, like she was like, no, do this, no, do this. Let's make knots, like go over here. Like she was strategic. She was good at that particular challenge. I don't think that Jovanny was as strong as Kyland. And I think that that's where they fell short. And Azah's taller than Cely. So she was able to kind of go up higher and do things that a little bit more quickly than Cely. But I think that Cely put in a really good effort. And I'm hoping that it bit her in the butt that she's like, oh, I could have done better in this game if I didn't go out first. So hopefully she wants to come back, and she will.
Yeah, I think she'd be great.
Yeah, I think Cely, I mean, she did the best that she could do there. The issue was, as you mentioned, I mean, she's just much shorter. I mean, she's got to be like 5'2" or shorter maybe. And I noticed at the beginning of the challenge, Jovanny had to lift her up as well as the rope to get over the kind of higher bars, where Azah is like super tall, very long. It was much easier for her. So Cely was doing great with knowing where the rope should go. But I mean, at the end of the day, she couldn't necessarily get to where it needed to go on her own. So there's like a little bit of extra effort needed by Cely and Jovanny.
Yeah, Azah and Kyland, they did obviously do really well. They ended up beating Jovanny and Cely. I think that if it was height-wise, they were just a little bit more equal. I think that Cely could have done a little bit better than Azah, because I thought that she had a better strategy, and she didn't seem as gassed out as Azah was. We didn't talk about it from the daily, but after going the second time, Azah kind of had a little bit of heat stroke or something, and she almost passes out. And, so it shows that, like, she's not necessarily that physically fit. And so I think that she could have, like, Cely could have beat maybe someone that was around her same height, even with Jovanny not being as strong physically as Kyland. I think she was stronger than Azah in general. But a win's a win. Azah and Kyland, they won, especially after. What did you think about Cely and Jovanny heckling Azah beforehand?
I was obsessed. It was hilarious. I'm like, this is what the like old school challenge, like just gotta like chirp each other and just like go for it,
Mm-hmm.
It was funny to me.
Hi, Danita. Danita says, I'm definitely excited for some individual elimination.
That's the other thing, is that there's gonna be some that'll be like, okay, whatever girl wins and whatever guy wins, you're back in. But it doesn't even mean you're paired, because the pairings are going to change. But it just means like, so some of them, they probably won't have to rely on their partner, which makes me excited.
Yeah, in the preview, we saw a hall brawl. We saw a balls in. I think we saw the pole wrestle as well. So there's definitely going to be some single eliminations, which will be real fun.
Real fun. I had to roll my eyes a little bit when Tiffany's like, I need Kyland here. I know that like he's gonna be protecting me. I just was like,
it looked like Tiffany and Cinco were getting a little close at one point.
It did. I know, she's flirting.
I mean, her and Kyland aren't together though. They just have a connection.
I think that they might have dated a little bit though.
They did date, but I think they're not dating at this point. It doesn't seem that way.
I did laugh when Azah's eyelash was just like sitting on her cheek.
She was struggling. She is someone that if I was watching, I'd be like, okay,
worried.
don't want her as a partner.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'd be worried for her and just being like, are you okay? Or do you need some water? Like, just don't push yourself too hard. So that's pretty much it. So the one new twist I think we learned about is that we assumed that this was going to happen anyways, but the winner of the elimination is going to take the bank account of the people that they beat and send home. So that's a way that you're going to be able to add to your bank account, which is cool. And so they were able to take $1,000 from each of Cely and Jovanny, which is fun. So we should take a look at our draft. Hold on. All right. See how we're doing here. I did all the work and I put it up on here. And now why don't I see it? Oh, here you are. I think this is it. Bum, 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 bum. All right. So here are our teams. So I am so sorry, but Team Celybrate is going to be losing its last member.
2 members. I
didn't even realize that he was your last guy pick also.
Tough night for me.
Tough night for you, unfortunately.
Whoa. Oh, wait. So who you lost 2?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
So, Michelle, do we have what's the point situation looking like? So, who received points this episode?
We have Tyson and Angela each get 5 points for the daily.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kyland and Azah get 10 points apiece for the elimination.
No smoochies, no fights.
Yeah. Who has Kyland? Oh, Matt, you have Kyland.
I do.
You have Kyland. Nice.
Okay, so everybody got some points here. So
yeah,
I just have Tyson. You had Angela, and who has Azah? You have Azah as well. Okay, so you got some big points. Okay, I got the least amount of points with my boy Tyson. But
I mean, you're gonna have more to come now that we know that the partnerships will be changing and all that.
Absolutely.
There's so many points to be had.
Well, this has been fun. I really enjoyed chatting with you. Episode. I'm sorry, Matt, that you lost your bottom 2, your bottom male and female. So it wasn't somebody that you thought were necessarily going to do super well, but you did name your team after your last picked person. Do you want to change your team name, or do we want to keep it as we're doing it for Cely?
Yeah, we're gonna do it for Cely. So we'll bounce back for Cely.
It's the same thing with my Bettina and Friends. Like, I lost Bettina, but it was still Bettina and Friends.
Team Celybrate is a top tier team name.
Thank you.
I love it.
So good. Nerd Tape and Sarah, it's all good. It's all good. We're just settling up now. I'm going to go and watch you.
You're muted. You're muted. Oh, you're back.
I know. Well, I can see when it says that I'm muted. You're like, I'm muted. I'm like, I can still hear you. So Sarah, yes, I'm going to go back and watch your Big Brother recap right now. So no worries at all. I know that a lot is happening tonight. So what is happening with you guys? Matt, do you have anything that's going on that you'd like people to check out or follow you at? What's going on in your world?
No, I mean, it's Big Brother challenge season. We got Love Island coming up, The Bachelorette coming up. So just summer of reality TV. But I'll be back here next week. Quick question for you two. MVP of the night. Who's your MVP?
James is the MVP of this episode.
I think James. I think I'm going to have to go with James. Yeah.
Yeah. 3 for 3.
Should we make that another point thing?
Let's do a 5-pointer.
5-pointer for who?
But we all have to agree.
Exactly.
And you can't be biased.
No,
I don't even know who has James.
I don't know who has James either.
Oh, I think I do.
Yeah, I do think you do.
Wow.
You got 20 points this episode. Of course you want this.
I honestly forgot, but also we'll all have to agree. And sometimes it'll this
If
this
it's 2
episode
to
was
1, it's
pretty-
fine, but it has to
Yeah.
be majority.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Agreed.
in agreement, I think James killed it tonight, and super excited for him moving forward.
Yeah.
Yes, it's agreed upon also with the people in the chat. Yeah, the chat could also give their suggestions, who they think is the MVP. Yeah, that's a little fun addition.
Yeah, I love this addition. I think
So
it's great.
fun. Well, other than bringing some great ideas to the pod, what do you have going on in your life other than the tons of reality TV? Anything else you want people to follow you at or watch or subscribe or follow? You know the drill. You're like, no. Michelle, anything?
Me?
I was asking
okay.
both of you, but
I was like, I don't know who you're asking. No, I have a lot of TV to catch up on. So I need to catch up on my big brother. I'm very excited. And yeah, just honestly, this summer is just full of weddings for me. So everything else is on hiatus while I go to 27 different weddings.
Fun. What do we think though about the runner-up here as Azah's eyelash for the MVP?
Honestly, I would probably give it to perhaps it was a pretty big eyelash. I was surprised.
It was very, very funny. Well, thank you both for being here. Thank you, everybody in the chat. You guys are the best. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Like this video. And I want to hear if you agree with us that Jane was the MVP or Azah's eyelash was the MVP. Who do you think was the MVP of this episode? Leave that in the comments and we can continue this conversation there. Otherwise, we'll see you next week at the same time. Bye, everybody. Ciao.